What's up, Will? I hope you're having a great Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. 2017 is about to end. And the topic of the day is really entrepreneurship challenges, especially African entrepreneurship. I would say the first challenge is taxes. Taxes is basically not the best friend of startups. And when I mean startups, is from they're the most vulnerable when it comes to the idea process all the way to the scheduling and setting up your business. I'll give you an example. I've been traveling all over the place in 2017, northern, Western Africa, and of course we operational now in two countries, Rwanda and Uganda. And one thing I've learned, if you want to hire a full-time employee, for example, you have to pay a 30% plus bracket tax. That's why you don't see a lot of startups, actually any startups that I know, hire full-time employees. They're all contractor or they're outsourcing their work, which is sad. You know, a lot of the tax system is not designed for startup. And I'll even go further. If you're a social entrepreneur, which is basically not only you starting a business, but also a business that will have a social impact, you have to pay the same tax bracket than a traditional business does, which does not make any sense. Because really, to me, social entrepreneurship is the bridge between, it's the next level of NGOs, basically, non-government organization, because we solving social issue through entrepreneurship, and there should be a special tax bracket to really promote those things, because we've seen the last 50 years our social issue hasn't got better. NGOs don't have long-term goals. They really depend on donation, and also sustainability is key. So yeah, tax is a huge issue. And I'll even go with custom. So if you're developing a technology in Africa, well, even if you're developing a hardware, unfortunately most of your hardware will not be developed in the country of operation, because most manufacturing are non-existent here for specialized specialized items. So let's say you develop a product, but you have to import some of the parts overseas, then you're not considered a company that manufacture or develop the technology in the country, in Africa, and most countries are like that, which is sad, because you basically handicapping somebody who's coming up with a great idea, developing a product, but because not fault of his own, he has to import some of the products or some of the parts overseas. And instead of helping, I would say, that individual, government wants to tax on all parts, because government thinks about revenues, and they don't think too much about product development and technology and all those things. And that's something I hope it will change. If it doesn't, then it's going to be a shame, because if you look at innovation in Africa, we'll talk a little bit more, it's dominated by foreign companies. I mean, it's just that simple. We talk about Africa being the bed of innovation, but if you look between the layers, you will see that who are those innovators, where they're from, and very few of them, especially when it comes to products, very few of them are Africans. The second challenge, I would say, is preferential treatment. I call it. That's my name. I came up with this. What's that mean? Well, let's say you're a foreigner trying to do business on the continent. That's most African country. Well, you get the red carpet treatment. And sometimes, and I see a lot of with the drone business, because I've met a lot of young Africans that are getting into this business, but they find themselves competing with outsiders that either get tax exemption or they get the chance to work directly with the government, and they can't compete. It's very difficult to compete, because when you compete with somebody that doesn't have to pay too much taxes, well, He has more revenue. He has more money to embed put it back in a company. So it's really challenging, and we benefiting outsiders more than we benefiting local companies. And I've seen it all over the place. As African countries are focusing on raising investors and all those things, they're forgetting, and I feel they're forgetting the importance of local innovators, local inventors. And if you don't understand what I'm trying to tell you, if you don't think it's important, listen, do your research, man. Because I don't have much to talk about those things. Do your research, man. All the most powerful countries in the world develop most of their technology internally. As a matter of fact, China did something amazing, and that's why they dominate now. China protected their market to make sure that internally the innovator inventor can come up with ideas that are Chinese companies. You know, you have Chinese companies now that are more valuable than Facebook. Can you imagine? Do you think that would have been possible if they had opened their market? And even then, when they used to open their market to big companies, they had to share their technology with a Chinese company. And it was not a choice. It was a must. You know, Facebook is not allowed in China because they have the equivalent now. Imagine if we had the same policy. You know, we would have a Facebook-like company in Africa that is dominating and providing, you know, similar services. And if you don't think having innovation that are African by African, you know, the amount of impact that would have is huge. If you're developing a successful products right now, it doesn't just impact your company, okay? Now you have a patent in that country, okay? Now you need manufacturing, so you're creating more jobs. And now you can export your technology, okay? So when you export is revenue for the country also, because now the country become a place of exportation. Israel also understood that. You know, you have what we call unicorn companies in Israel more than the whole continent of Africa. You know, and parentheses, I was watching this, I was reading this report that shows that startups in Africa raised 120 million plus. The whole continent raised 120 million. Wow, that's peanuts, man. That's beyond peanuts. We're talking about a company that combined China, India, the United States, Europe, all that combined, and we only raised 120 million. And the report said it was a raise, you know, rise from 2016. That's peanuts, man. Those are the shit that pissed me off, man. How are we supposed to compete? How are we supposed to take Africa to the next level with those kind of numbers? And we only have us to blame anyway. So, but this is not the topic. I will talk about money issues and all those things, but which is one of our last topic to talk about. But yes, man, we have special treatment for foreign investors, and we keep forgetting about our local ones. You know, we don't understand that actually the real innovation, the real power will come from local innovator. You know, and that's just how it's going to be. So that's the biggest challenge. As to the next one, I want to talk about. The next challenge I want to talk about is scalability. Now, this is not for everyone. Obviously, not every company is going to scale. Some companies, some owners want to stay small, which is fine. There's no problem. But if you want to scale your business in Africa, it's the most challenging task you're going to pretty much do. Trust me, I know. And I'm going to make some solution to it, but it's a huge challenge to scale in Africa. Each country is different law. Even though we're talking about the Eastern Bloc, Western Bloc, there's a lot of law that supersede others. Number one, you're going to need a lawyer to be able to do all those things. You know, the problem if you go to Europe, you can be based in one location and expand in all those different countries. The States is one country, even though it's a federal states, but you can, set up your country in one state and do business all over the state. In Africa, it doesn't work like that. Even though we have the East African bloc, it doesn't work like that. Every country have to set up a structure, some type of legal structure, and they all have challenges. Another challenge is currency. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to dwell on this, but why, when I have to go to Uganda, for example, or any country, I have to change the money to dollars. A lot of businesses want to be paid in dollars. In West Africa is in euros, or so we don't even trust our own currency. Businesses don't want to use the local currencies. You have to convert, and it's cheaper to convert from one country currency to dollars and dollars to another country currency, instead of trying to change from currency to currency, because some countries do it and you lose value on that. It's crazy. We have to pay rent in dollars in a lot of businesses in Uganda. So it's amazing, and scaling is expensive as hell. So obviously you're gonna have to find the money to do it. So you have to have an entity in one country, second country, third country. The best way to do it is to partner. Is either partner licensing, if you have your own technology. If you don't, partnership is the best way. You don't want, you're gonna sink if you're trying to do all those things by yourself. And that's my fourth challenge that I've seen among ourselves, especially African entrepreneurs. We don't partner. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to develop their own thing. And what you find out, if you go across and you pay attention, you see a lot of similarities in a lot of technology across the continent. Especially in the mobile app, whether it's in fintech, whether it's, and then they're all chasing the meager money that exists in the marketplace. So you find, like, in Uganda alone, I've met like 15 fintech, and they're not exactly the same, obviously, but they have a lot of similarities, and the market does not have enough space for 15 companies. So merging, partnership is non-existent, and the process also is not easy to merge with a company. The laws are not there to protect and to help those young companies to do so. But you have to find a way. You have to structure your company in a different location. Mauritius is one of the best places to structure your company. But if you don't merge to be bigger, more powerful, more valuable, so you can raise more money, lose less equity, you're gonna sink unless you're lucky enough to raise money. It'll be so challenging, especially in the area where it's very, very challenging, where there's a lot of competition. We lucky. Most of the business that are in innovation or invention are in home solar systems. So like kiosk is still a very new area, very untapped market. But we know that if a company comes with bigger resource and all, I want to get into that, either want to merge with us or buy us off, hey, I'll really consider it, because it's better to work in teams than fight with each other. Even though the market is big, you want to grow as fast as possible, because innovation now, the time of innovation is between 2 to 4 years. Then technology change, and also you have to adapt. So you have to really spend a lot of money on research and development. So merging, partnership, look at ways, and that's the best way you're gonna use, to expand. And I know the laws is not there yet to facilitate those things, but make sure you use a lawyer to do those things. Another topic, that I like to talk about, and I've talked about plenty, is money. And I call it money now, with investment, research, and development. And don't talk too much about investment, equity investment, and all. I'm so disappointed with all the billionaires we have, with all the major corporation we have. None of them, or very few of them, start innovation funds. If you go to the States, all the big company, Microsoft and the Googles and all, they all have innovation funds. they acquire, they purchase companies and all. We barely have any. Look at all the big companies, and when they do have some, it's 10,000, 20. It's ridiculous, man. It's a joke. But another thing that really is crucial is grants for research, development, and all. We are not going to win this game. Africa is not going to have a long-term growth, like the Chinese and all, if we don't take that seriously. If there's not billions of dollars available for research and development for the private and the public sector that really target local entrepreneurs or local individuals, not just money for anyone, we're not going to make it. We're not going to have consistent growth if we don't invest in new technology, if we don't own our own technology, at least part of it. It's just not going to happen. It's that simple. I've talked about a lot of different challenges, but the last one, not least, it's a topic that very few, I haven't heard anyone talking about it. And I don't know why, because it's a very important topic. It's a topic I talked about in Morocco at a conference, and it's about patent. And for those who don't know what a patent is, please research, but basically it's to protect your invention or innovation, where somebody cannot just copy you and don't have any consequences to it. But the patent laws in Africa are the worst in the world, and basically you have different laws in different countries. So we did a patent here in Rwanda, and it took 3 years to get it. 3 years to get the patent registered. By the time we get that patent, by the time we got it, the technology had changed. And then each country, again, like I said, each country has different patent laws. So you have to basically, get a lawyer in each country. Now, some of the areas have blocks where you can have a patent, but even then, when you submit it, you still have to submit. Just to give you an example, there's some countries in Europe, true story, some countries in Europe that have more patent depot than the whole continent of Africa. That to me is crazy. It doesn't even make no sense, and that's why we don't own that technology. Therefore, when you use somebody else's technology, guess what? Somebody's paying for it. That's why it's also very important to develop our own technology, and innovate, because you licensing, you're paying somebody for that technology. And it was designed, I don't know why, but why was it designed like this? But they should have a one patent law for the whole continent of Africa, to really promote and facilitate the process, make it cheaper. So that's another thing about patent. It's very expensive, so it's only a few that have those. And it's very hard to protect your patent in Africa compared if you have a patent in the States or in Europe. So it's very interesting. And most innovator, most engineer, most inventions are not patent here. People come up with stuff, and then they get copied. Somebody come up and get copied. They can't take them to court. So we really need to make sure that the laws protect African inventors and innovators out there, or it's just not going to work either. Because if somebody got a lot more resources, a lot more money that can come and copy your stuff, you're doomed. Pretty much you're doomed, because they're just going to do it quicker, produce it much, not necessarily better, but cheaper, etc., etc. But patent gives you time to penetrate the market, to learn about the market. It protects you, protect the business and all those things. So patent to me is important. We only did one patent in Rwanda. We stopped because we were looking at we're probably going to do another one in Nigeria. And Nigeria alone has special laws about patent, because it's such a big market, and we really want to take our time to penetrate that market. But I don't think we'll do any other patent outside those markets, because our technology is not just based on technology, but also the business model is as innovative as the technology. So you have to be careful. You know, if you want to go that route of patent, just do your research, see how your cost's going to be. But I can guarantee you, in Rwanda alone, it costs us close to $4,000. That's just one country, a small country. And on top of that, when we did, when we did the patent, the process, the process is not even done here in the country; it's done outside. So it's very interesting a process, and it's a very, very long and tedious process. And you might be out of business by the time you get it. Unless the law change in there, I don't see more patent happening in Africa. So I hope those challenges will allow you to understand if you want to open your business and want to scale up your business, but also look at some of the solution we're using as a company. And if you have any comment that you want to put it below. You know, I'm always here to see what are the experience some of the people have, and most of all, you know, some of your solution. If you're already on the marketplace, what solution have you used? You know, based on the challenges I mentioned, and what other challenges you may have that I didn't mention. All right, man. Take care, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.